Why we argue at work and home is something that we need to give attention to far more often than we usually are. Many of us only think about this or discuss this when we actually have ended up in trouble. Otherwise, most of us think that we are great at communicating, our ideas are best, the way we look at the world is the best, and so much on. Let's spend some time to unravel this and peel this and understand what is really happening and why we get into this challenge. So, there are some lines that are getting missed in this. And one of those most prominent lines that get missed is that for many of us, our thoughts are things that we are so married to that in our mind and in conversations, we need to completely prove that we are right. Most of us have our thoughts as self serving biases. We have these thoughts as preservation of our own self, our identity, our cause, our selfish vested interest. And in that attempt to make everything conducive for us, we have to perform at our highest levels for our own good. Others have to come through for us. The world around us needs to configure in such a way that we get the best of the results. And in that attempt for us, every single thought we have becomes a point worth proving. And what happens then? Arguments. Because just like we are doing what we are doing, every single person around us has that need for self-preservation, for furthering their cause, their interests, their survival, their need to flourish and thrive, and all those goals that they have fixed in the materialistic world. And this is where many differences are actually becoming a debate. Whereas differences don't really need to become debates. We have to understand the other person. There is so much to learn, so much to understand in the world. But more often than not, we are in so many contests of communication, whether at home or on the road or in meetings with our managers, with our clients. We have so many contests that are happening all the time that we are missing the context of our life, the context of things, and everywhere ego has replaced curiosity. Result: more and more and more arguments. At the end of the day, not all thoughts are worth thinking. Not all thoughts are worth holding on to. Not all thoughts are worth sharing. And not all thoughts are worth other people agreeing to. Not everything that we have in our head is worth really whatever we are doing in our life. So we need to remember the need to be right cannot be stronger than the need to understand. Almost all of us will forever remain work in progress. We will come nowhere close to excellence, forget about perfection. We'll be good, we'll keep getting better, we can be great, but talk about excellence and perfection, rarely ever you will find someone getting to that level. And that also if exclusively they've been working on one or two things in their entire life. Modern life is so complex that everything around us is worth understanding, and from that understanding is going to come the antidote of arguments that we have. So my opening invitation to all of you: let's understand others around us. Let's understand the situation. Let's be curious about things. And from that curiosity is going to come progress. Arguments are only going to create debates, and those debates are only going to create conflicts. And every time you are in a conflict, you are going to have the need to be right. Guess why? Because you have a need to survive and further your own cause, and so does everyone else around us. Now, when we talk about the lines that we need to maintain, how do we really assess these lines? And this is where we need to understand that whether at work or at home or out there in anything that we involve with in society, there are two words to keep in mind: expertise and wisdom. For everything that we do, having an opinion is very easy. Look, with a certain level of education or a certain level of exposure in life, we all will have thoughts. Even if we didn't have that education or the exposure in life, it's very easy for thoughts to come. Thoughts are random in the mind. It's the nature. If your brain is working, if your pituitary and pineal glands are functioning, they are going to create reactions when you expose yourself to your inner world or your external world. And are we exposed to both these worlds? Yes, absolutely, at all points in time. Even when we are asleep, we are dreaming up things. So thoughts are constant in our mind. Even meditation doesn't take away thoughts. Thoughts will come. Thoughts are going to be there all the time. What you do, how do you deal with it, is really the point. And that's where expertise and wisdom comes in. What is expertise? Expertise is you learning. Expertise is you testing, seeing results, modifying your way. It's going through the whole grind of gaining mastery on something. And what is wisdom? While you're working on expertise, the way you look at life's experiences, the way you look at wins and losses, the way you look at the probabilities of life, the element of chance, the element of your own ability, how do you reflect on life, how do you keep balance on life, and the lessons that you extract, the insights that you extract, that's where wisdom comes in. And when expertise and wisdom come together, that's when you really have powerful contributions that you can make. Otherwise, all of what we are thinking can actually be just noise. Just because you have an idea doesn't mean it's great. Just because you have a thought doesn't mean it's worth sharing. Just because you have a certain opinion doesn't mean that others need to listen to it. Unless they are weighed in by expertise and wisdom, opinions can create a lot of noise. And peeling this a little bit further, expertise is very important to prevent confusion. Otherwise, all opinions given without expertise can create a lot of confusion. Because what happens is, opinion can very easily not be based on facts, or even if facts are available, you are misconstruing the fact. You could be giving misleading conclusions. There could be personal beliefs that are creeping in, or professional beliefs that are creeping in, or there could be a certain kind of bias that you have picked up, or a certain self-serving cause that you might be working with, and you're twisting the whole situation. And we have heard so many corporate and real life examples where people have taken data, or people have taken a certain fact or a stated truth and used it partially to serve their own cause. All of this can create significant confusion. In fact, what happens is, if you really don't have true expertise, on one hand, you could be complicating them very simple matters, and on the other side, you could be oversimplifying complicated matters. Both can create challenges. Like, let's take this example. You are in a meeting, and there is somebody who's going around taking opinions from everyone, whereas what you simply should have been doing is understanding what is the law or the fact or the action that is acceptable by social norms in doing that, instead of taking hundreds of opinions and trying to complicate and over engineer that. So if you had a clear understanding of what needs to be done in this situation, you should just simply tell people, technically correct thing to do in this situation is this. This is how we can temper the context and the emotions in the situation, and this is what we should do. A clear recommendation. Instead of that, you put in an opinion and you try to take multiple opinions, carry everybody along. Doesn't help. Democracy is not meant for all situations. There are good 20-30% situations where you should have absolute non-negotiables, and that sometimes keeps things very simple. On the other hand, let's look at this. You are getting into a situation to completely show that you are in charge and you are in control. So even if there is seemingly a very complex set of things to be done, you tell people that here is what we are going to do. We are going to do this. Like many leaders, they come across and they give slogans to inspire change, or just because they want everybody to rally around, they package it as strategic intervention. Actually, there is nothing strategic about that. It's just an intervention that they need, and they need everybody to come around. Or they use words, heavy words, like this is going to be transformative, it's going to be a digital transformation, it's going to be a pivotal point of our existence, and heavy antidotes like that. And what they are hiding is a lot of chaos. They are not telling people that when we get into this, when reality hits us, it is not going to be the usual 8-hour days, for it's going to be for 14, 16-hour days, for not just 1 or 2 months, but for several quarters. They are hiding all that complexity under that opinion. So what are they doing? Again, they're oversimplifying a very complex situation. So between these, which is complicating a simple situation to overcomplicating, to oversimplifying a very complex situation, opinions and lack of expertise can create such big issues at home, in organizations, everywhere that we go. And often what happens is people who have just opinions are much louder than experts, because experts are always testing reality, because no reality or real life situation has all the variables perfectly aligned: time, space, ingredients. There is something off at all points in time, and you're trying to not get things right, but to optimize things. And through multiple optimizations, then you get to an effective point and the right thing to do. That's what expertise helps you do, and that's what experts do. So think about this. Opinion without expertise is really creating confusion. So you have to ask yourselves, am I really an expert in this situation, or is somebody else, or are all of us put together really the experts, or we really need to have another expert work with us? If you're not going to ask this question, again, severe arguments are going to happen, and solid chances are you will not just fail yourself, but the cause that you are all working towards. Similarly, opinion without wisdom can make us very rigid and disconnection, because ultimately, what is wisdom? Wisdom is about having perspectives. It's about understanding things from 360-degree. It's understanding when not to do things rather than when to do things. It's understanding what are all the options that are laid out, and what can be tested and what cannot be, what can be applied and what cannot be. In fact, it is about knowing the timing of things. It's about knowing who, when, what, and what are the fallouts that are going to happen, and how to handle those fallouts. And being connected with the situation is about the emotional maturity to land even the best of the truths correctly. Sometimes the best of the truths, if it is not landed correctly, can land as if it is the most inappropriate or incorrect things to do. This is where perspectives matter. This is where emotional maturity matters. And this comes from the quality of experience that we have had in life. Quantity does matter sometimes, but beyond a certain point, it's really the quality of experience that one has had, and the insights that one has churned out of those experiences, from where wisdom comes in. Wisdom is very important for us to have empathy, compassion, and to ensure that progress takes everyone and everything along to the optimum level possible. It's about ensuring that each person wins and the system wins alongside, and the system wins and each person wins alongside. It's that balance. And when you balance expertise and wisdom, conversations become so much better, the cause becomes so much better. Otherwise, imagine this: you don't have expertise, you're creating confusion. You don't have wisdom, you're creating rigidity and disconnection in the environment. Imagine the chaos that can happen. So be cautious of those two elements, and many times neither you nor the other party have the right expertise or wisdom. So get somebody into the conversation who can play that anchor role. However, having just solved these two doesn't solve all the issues, because beyond this, humans are creatures of habits. We are creatures of behavior, and bad behavior can be equally dangerous in conversations, leading to arguments and so much of other things. Let's understand it this way. For conversations to really be good, be optimum, be productive, be enjoyable, for conversations to be an invitation to re-engage multiple times and continue building on those conversations, a very important aspect is respect. And that respect comes when everybody pays attention, you listen, you understand, and you are there to learn in the conversation and to grow. And I've said this multiple times: you bring in understanding into conversations, decisions and progress will come. It's just a matter of the process that we go through. But with bad behavior, like interrupting, mocking, dominating the conversation and trying to win with emotional reactions, with intellectual reactions of blame and sarcasm. What we are putting into the mix in the conversation is a lot of insecurity. It's a lack of reasoning. And that's when conversations become battle for respect instead of conversations really being exchange of value. What we truly need conversations to be is to be an exchange of values for them to really be productive for everyone and for it to be an invitation for the conversations to continue over a period of time. Because remember, at the end of the day, the conversation is just one small thing between some relationship. The relationship between a transactional relationship at work, or it could be a longer term relationship at work, or it could be a transactional relationship at home, or a longer term relationship and someone that you are connected to in life. So remember, respect the relationship, and that's going to happen only with the right behaviors, the right habits. Bad behaviors, bad habits that you bring into conversation can create a battle for respect. And that again is something that you need to focus to unlearn and learn the right things to do. A very simple thing is to choose behaviors and habits of respect, of attention, of listening, of connecting with the other person and doing the right things. And the essence of how to avoid arguments or how to build the good conversation would be to respect experience that you carry and the other person carries, to understand limits that both of you bring into conversation. It is to about asking questions to learn. It's about being in the conversation to understand that, like I have said multiple times. So you need to know when to speak, when to pause, when to listen deeply, when to share. You need to learn how to differentiate between opinions and facts. Keep your ego away from expression. Because remember, like we said, the best of the things that you want to say, if you don't land it correctly, if you land it with ego, it's going to get destroyed. So your expression has to really be powerful. And that's where respecting experience and accepting limits comes in. And that's where seeking help in conversation also comes in. In conversations, aim for clarity, not victory. In conversations, aim for connection, not control. Conversations can be enjoyable. In fact, conversations can be about learning, growth, and progress for all of us, provided we want to really stop arguing.